The Bloodline is here for now.
What up, Mox?
Guys, Friday Night Smackdown. Let's get right into this review and reaction of tonight's show of Friday Night Smackdown, which is always all about Roman Reigns and whatever he's got going on. Nothing else kind of really doesn't matter for the most part. But let's get right into the show. Started off with our Tribal Chief Roman Reigns in the ring talking about Edge, saying the Edge thinks that he's afraid of him and all the stuff like that. Then he says, let's take care of some business. He brings out Jimmy Uso, talks about what happened the week prior. And obviously Jimmy Uso coming off the outside the ring issues. He got another DUI and arrested again. So he's got some personal demons going on there. But, you know, obviously he's upset because he got the crossface last week from Edge and Roman was nowhere to be found. In the end, you find out Roman was actually tracking down Jey Uso, because here comes Jey Uso. He's back. And they're all in the ring together. And, you know, Jey actually kind of refers to Jimmy's outside of the ring stuff here. By saying, you know, I know you're going through it's a tough time right now, but let's do what we always do and win those tag team championships. So it's pretty interesting there. And then you would have them all embrace, they all hug, and I love the camera work from WWE here as they embrace. It's basically them hugging Roman as together, and he just kind of like has a face of like vindication, like he's pretty much it's seemingly as if he's tracked down and collected all the Infinity Stones, right? Like that's the kind of feeling you got here. Like it was complete, right? Like his mission was complete.
Oh my goodness, the family is solid.
Was to get his crew there and the Bloodline together. So it seems like we have the Bloodline in full effect here, at least in the beginning of the show.
Yeah, I mean, it was great. I loved it. I mean, I don't know, they do nothing wrong when it comes to Roman. I mean, everything's perfect. Even just the embrace, everything, bringing up the fact that this guy needs to get an Uber, the Uber app on his phone or a Lyft thing on his phone, because my God, second time, let's go, pick it up, buddy. You're gonna lose your job if you continue to do this crap. But it was awesome. I love the embrace. I love the cam work. I loved it all. I love that the Bloodline is strong, and that no matter what, he's still the puppet master. He's the tribal chief. He's the head of the table, and every week we are reminded that he is the #1 thing in wrestling. It's like everything is just so good.
Yeah, he's running the show definitely right now. But I love, like I said, I love the camera from WWE. I love that vindication, that feeling from Roman that he felt like when he took a breath, it just kind of like exhaled, you know, that he has his crew and what he needs to hold on to this title for as long as he possibly can. Now, the next thing on the show is an interesting thing, because all of a sudden King Corbin's contract doesn't really exist. Baron Corbin, like he's not making any money. I don't know what happened to the contract he had previously, because now all of a sudden he's broke, right? And he's not making any money. I don't understand, because he's on the show every week. But again, we get Baron Corbin versus King Nakamura. Now the caveat to this whole match is that it's a Money Bank qualifier, so it's a reason for him to do it again. You know, without having to have to like think too much about it. In the end, Nakamura gets the win. You had Big E on the outside, along with, you know, Pat McAfee sitting on a couch, putting their feet in like a pedicure type bath. And yeah, whatever, he was out there. But Nakamura gets the win, and Corbin continues to spiral. We'll see where the story kind of ends up. Baron Corbin, you know, it could be pretty interesting as to what Baron Corbin actually ends up doing coming out of this entire story. Interesting thing though, Rick Boogs, I'm sorry, and had bought, you know, the repossessed car of Baron Corbin at very cheap at auction. So that was pretty funny.
Yeah, they took his G-Wagon from him. Yeah, I'm okay. This match, we don't need to see this match anymore. It's been like 19 times, it feels, over the last like 2 months or a month and a half. It's enough. No more need to see this match. But I'm liking the Corbin, sad, depressed, loser life. You know, his life was on top as the king, and now he's at the bottom. He's in, you know, basically a step away from sleeping in an alleyway somewhere. So it's like, I'm digging it. I'm loving it. I want to see them grow the character, and I think Baron Corbin has been around, but he's never been like, he's just been around. But I think if they book this right, we can start loving Baron Corbin. Like he might be the hottest thing next to Roman on SmackDown if they do this right, because he's doing a great job as sad Corbin. I'm digging this whole push to the motion that he's getting.
Well, I love the segue, because sad Baron Corbin, just thought about it for now. Let's get into the segment. Let's book it.
He's gonna puke!
So Sad Baron Corbin. How are we gonna book this? Okay, so for me personally, I would love to see Baron Corbin get so down on his luck that he loses his home. He's already talked about. He talked about he's missed a couple payments, and they're talking about foreclosing his home. The beginning stages of that. Him living in the arenas, in the locker room, and then people running in on him. He kind of just wakes up and acts like he's getting dressed, but he's actually been sleeping in the locker room at these arenas. I think it'll be a ton of fun to do that. I think it'll be kind of interesting to see him trying to steal food at catering, even though he doesn't really have to, but because he has no other way of getting any food. And now it's hard to get to suspend your disbelief because obviously he's still a contracted superstar, so where his money's gone, I don't know, but he could be just massive amounts of debt that he can't afford absolutely anything, and that's to why that's the case. It'll be cool, I mean, to have him, be sleeping in other guys' cars, get from town to town. Like he just sneaks into other guys' rented cars as they start traveling again. That started next Friday, and he's like sleeping in the back of their cars, and they don't even know. Once they get to the arena, he kind of just shows up. It's like, oh man, how long you been back there? He's been there the whole time. Pretty cool stuff that he could do. He
showering in like the bathroom and like just at the sink.
They could really play that up and have him really down his luck, and then build towards maybe even Baron Corbin having a babyface turn that you feel so down and out, so bad for him. And he eventually gets this big win and he's able to reclaim some of his lost fortune. I think that'd be pretty cool, maybe a cool, interesting way to book it going forward. But we'll see. I mean, there's a lot of things they can do, a lot of funny, entertaining, out of the box stuff they can do, especially with fans. I mean, he could literally be trying to steal fans popcorn because he can't find something to eat or something like that. So you can do a lot of interesting stuff like that.
I mean, like he could be like just like a homeless person or like just running around. I mean, we could just spend like he's just lived amongst his means as the king, like he was outliving his contract or whatever. He was spending money that he didn't have. We could play that whole thing. I think it'd be amazing. Just sad, depressed, dirty, come in like just like always like, dude, what are you doing back here? It's like, nah, nothing, just hanging out, just putting clothes on, or whatever. I think that'd be amazing. I think it'd be hilarious. I think it'd push Baron to where no one's ever liked Baron Corbin, even going back to the NXT days when he was like that lone wolf guy. No one ever liked him. I think this could be a pseudo baby face where it's like feel sorry for him, and I think we can really get behind them. So I think it's a great move if they go that way. I think they're going to go in some, maybe not that full direction, but somewhere in that direction. This whole sad Corbin thing, it's going to be a thing, and it's going to be one of the bigger things on SmackDown. I can feel it. Yeah, it could be a lot of fun if they have if they themselves and Corbin himself has a lot of fun with it. But there you go. We just booked sad homeless Baron Corbin.
He's gonna puke!
All right, guys, so let's continue with the review of Friday Night SmackDown. Next thing was an interesting thing. We had a non-title match, women's tag team match. Natalya and Tamina taking on a mystery team, and that mystery team is Shotzi, Blackheart, and the just returning Tegan Nox, who returned at Great American Bash. They come out. Interesting how it was Tegan and her, and not Shotzi and Ember, right, who we've seen previously tag team. They come out. With the tank, which I'm surprised. If they stay main roster, that tank is not going to last that long. I have a feeling.
No. The following contest is a women's division tag team match scheduled for one fall.
But this was fun. I mean, Shotzi and Nox get the win. So, like, what comes out of this? Are they going to stay on the main roster? Is the tease of them getting drafted to SmackDown? Makes a ton of sense because we'd also get word that Toni Storm is coming to SmackDown as well. So they're really rebuilding and revamping this women's division on SmackDown, which they really need to do on Raw as well. So we'll see what happens then. But they could be, bringing Toni Storm in, having these two, Shotzi and Tegan, show up, maybe teasing that they may come up from the draft. So we could see a lot of shuffling around when it comes to the women's division.
It's good that they need some new life in the women's division on both Raw and SmackDown. So I'm liking that. NXT has a great women's division, but it's getting a little bloated. They only have 2 hours at one time a week. I think that they can, kind of siphon out where they gotta put people. So I think it makes perfect sense. Continue with that. Tegan Nox and Shotzi Blackheart were interesting to put on as a tag team. It's basically like a squash match more than anything, kind of like a filler. But hopefully that's something in the future where they can build on and just build a women's division, because it's getting a little bit.
Yeah, at this point it is. And then we continue on with the women's division here. Now, Bayley, obviously, we're just getting injured seemingly today. That's when the news broke. She got hurt, seemingly tore her ACL, so she's out for 9+ months, at least 9 months. So obviously she won't have her match against Bianca Belair at Money in the Bank for that women's championship. Now, Sonya Deville will come out and say she's going to announce a new challenger, but then changes it up and saying that she will not defend her title at Money in the Bank, but the Friday Night SmackDown before Money in the Bank, which is the first live event with fans. when it comes to SmackDown and basically the traveling circus going on the road ever since, the first time since WrestleMania. So as a big show there, they're going to have that match happen, and Bianca Belair will be taking on Carmella, who was the hand-picked opponent for the title. Then here comes Liv Morgan. She's upset because Carmella keeps getting handed stuff. Obviously, Zelina Vega was handed a Money in the Bank qualifier. You had Carmella qualifying by it being handed by Sonya Deville. She gets in Sonya Deville's face. Sonya Deville says, if you would have let me finish, I would have told you that her getting this title match means she's out of Money in the Bank, which I guess. So Liv Morgan gets it. So a little bit of continuity there, but it's not really all that great. I mean, we're not super excited about any of this stuff.
Yeah, I didn't like the fact that Bianca was like, I think she's faking the injury. Like, I mean, it's for the title. Why would you fake the injury? That's like the dumbest heel thing ever. But whatever, that was dumb. I thought that was flat. But it sucks Bayley's out. But honestly, this feud wasn't that good anyway, so I really don't care. I just feel bad for Bayley's. Hopefully she gets back, quicker than 9 months. But whatever, it is what it is. But this is what's going forward. It kind of sucks because it dampens her feud, her first big feud as champion. It just kind of dampens it, kind of ruins it. And the fact that it's not on the pay-per-view, it's on the SmackDown. I know it's a big SmackDown because it's first in front of crowds, but still. That's not the pay-per-view. It's her first defense, a major defense. It doesn't feel as special. So, but it is what it is. Hopefully they can build Carmella stronger, and it was a shame that they Reginald became a bigger star than her, which I still don't understand, but that is what it is. Let's just hope that Bianca Carmella can be something special.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see what happens. But that'll take place on Friday Night SmackDown next week, the first live event with fans of SmackDown. The last, the end of the Thunderdome era is the last SmackDown of the Thunderdome era. We have one more Raw, and that's the end of the Thunderdome era.
Hopefully we never see it again.
Yes. So the next thing we got here was another Money in the Bank qualifier. Cesaro with Seth Rollins rekindling the rivalry. They had their match at Hell in a Cell. They had a match at Backlash. I'm sorry, not at Backlash, but previously before that, WrestleMania. So then they have this match, and it goes a long time, and we get blood here. Cesaro gets busted open after he takes a DDT on the entrance ramp by Seth Rollins, trying to get the count out win. But in the end, Seth Rollins does get this win, and he qualifies for Money in the Bank, which is interesting more because of what happens to Cesaro after this. Is this a tease? Is this a foreshadowing that he will be moving to the Raw brand? Maybe to get to the main event picture in the Raw brand. I can see him versus Lashley. That'd be pretty cool. Powerhouses going at each other. Him versus Drew McIntyre, stuff like that. So that could be pretty cool. Is he going to Raw? That's why they're doing this. Or is he just going to be shoved back into a tag team or put back in the mid card? Will be interesting to see here because now we have another guy. So the field is set. Nakamura qualifies, and now Rollins qualifies for Money in the Bank. So that field is set. But what happens to Cesaro after this?
Yeah, that's where I'm, it sucks because he was in the main event picture. He was going for the title against Roman. He had a great match against Roman. He's basically been the hottest he's ever been in this, that whole brass ring thing. He was basically grabbing it, and they just kind of cut him underneath. Maybe it's just to push him off of SmackDown to Raw. I hope that's the case. I hope they don't put him on a tag team with somebody. That's what they always do with him. I don't think he did anything wrong. I think I wasn't expecting him to elevate himself to where he was against Roman, and he did, and he surpassed that to many people's eyes. And the fact that they're kind of knocking him down more to a mid-card guy after this, it kind of sucks. Hopefully he does just go to Raw and he gets a bigger feud over there, because let's face it, Raw needs as much help as it can get. So Cesaro over there would be a great idea. Hopefully that's what happens.
Now, Cesaro was one of the guys who made the most sense to be in Money in the Bank and win Money in the Bank. A lot of guys, him and Biggie were the two guys that people were thinking these guys make the most sense to win this briefcase. But that's not going to happen, obviously, unless anything crazy happens between now and Money in the Bank. So he's not in it. But we also get something interesting too, is that as Seth Rollins having an interview in the back celebrating, here comes Edge. Edge walks up on him and says, I hear you complaining. I hear this bitching and moaning back here. He says, you haven't changed since 2014.
You haven't changed since 2014, huh? Yeah, I haven't forgotten. See, here's the fundamental difference between you and I. You'll bitch and moan and whine and complain.
Obviously, when 2014 happened, Edge was still retired along with Christian. They were having the peep show, and then back then Seth Rollins decided to curb stomp obviously Edge and hurt him because he had the neck injury, so they played that whole thing up. So obviously coming back to it, so the rumors seem to be true that it would be Rollins versus Edge at SummerSlam. I think that's where they're building. I think Edge might get the match cost by Rollins at Money in the Bank or something like that, or maybe he costs Rollins Money in the Bank, something like that. I think we'll continue to set the seeds for that, and that match will probably happen at SummerSlam.
Yeah, I think it'd be a great match going forward to SummerSlam. It's something where they have some type of story in the background, 6, 7 years ago. So I'm okay with it, and I think both guys kind of make sense. They both will put up a great match. So yeah, it makes perfect sense. Two big stars, and after Edge is probably lost, most likely lost to Roman, then at least there's something to do there with Seth, because Seth needs to feel more important. He has to feel important since I would say right before the pandemic.
Yeah, pretty much. That's when he has, after the whole like 10-year long
thing,
with the Mysterios, but speaking about the Mysterios, we're gonna get to some next, because Edge is gonna call out Roman Reigns, right? He's been calling him out. He says, Edge, come out. He's challenging his manhood. Roman says he's gonna come out by himself. He comes up by himself, but then as he gets to the bottom of the ramp, here come the Usos behind them. He's like, I got this. He gets in the ring. I did like how they had him actually get into the ring and actually fight, and not kind of cowardly be, because I think that would hurt the character. So he gets in the ring. And him and Edge begin to brawl. They brawl each other, boom, boom, boom. And then Usos seem to be about to get involved, but here come the returning Mysterios, who we haven't seen since Hell in the Cell, or before Hell in the Cell. They come out, and they start fighting with the Usos. They start brawling. Everybody starts brawling with each other. And then you have Mysterios getting the upper hand. You have Edge getting the upper hand. And then you have Edge doing the crossface with the chair on both the Usos, as Roman Reigns watches at the entryway, not really doing much, not really wanting to get in there. But guys, this is the highlight of the night right here.
What a maneuver! Jimmy eating metal yet again while Roman watches on as his entire family gets...
He's giving him the crossface in there. Roman Reigns at the top of the ramp, not doing much. He doesn't know what to do. So it's kind of interesting that they get the Bloodline together, and then they really create maybe an issue between this, because both guys are flailing out for Roman to help him, and he doesn't help. So it's par for the course for Roman to do something like that, but we'll see what happens of this coming forward. But I like the ending. I thought it was a lot of fun, and it got me excited for a 6-man tag here. It really did got me excited for a 6-man tag. Mysterios Edge versus the Bloodline. That is a money 6-man tag in my eyes. Hopefully they do that next week for the big show in front of fans.
Yeah, I thought that was an awesome way to end the show. I thought it was great. I thought the visual was great. The fact that Edge was more of a badass destroying him, and I think it just throws like the chicken should heal, but he's still Roman, so it doesn't really affect him. But just the whole him watching his cousins get their ass beat and not help him out. I mean, what are you gonna do? It just, why am I gonna help him out? I don't think it's sweaty. They're basically his lackeys. They're just proving the point that these are his lackeys, and that's what they're there for, is to take a beating while Roman looks like the $1 billion. And that's perfect. That's what their job is, and they're doing it to a T. And him and Edge, I mean, that 6-man tag will be amazing next week. I think that's the course that they're going for, because it's a first live crowd. They want something big, and that's a huge match. So we'll love to see that.
Yeah, it would be awesome if we see it. Now, again, SmackDown was what it was. It's pretty much all Roman. Whatever he does, that's all that really matters right now on SmackDown. It is what it is, but we're excited to see Roman in everything that he does. But guys, that's a review and reaction to tonight's episode of Friday Night SmackDown. I appreciate you guys for tuning into this one. Make sure you drop a like on this video. Helps out the YouTube algorithm. Yeah, let us know in the comment section below what you guys thought of our booking of Sad Corbin, Homeless Corbin. How would you book him? Are you interested in that? And let us know what you think about everything else going on SmackDown. How would you book SmackDown going forward, and where they're going into Money in the Bank? Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Remember, for this work, your brother do not do the job.
Later, Mox.